Now, last way to solve a quadratic, and sometimes it may be the one that students go to the most. Sometimes it's not always the best case. If you can factor, then factor. Okay, it makes it a lot easier, and the numbers are a lot less difficult to deal with. If you can isolate it, isolate it. Okay, it's only the ones that I would really use the quadratic formula. Sorry about that. Quadratic formula is if I cannot factor it. So if I can't factor it, then I want to go with the quadratic formula if you do not like completing the square. So if I have 2x squared minus 6x plus 1. So very similar to the problem we just did with completing the square. I'm going to use my formula of negative opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So knowing what a, b, and c are, so a is 2, b is negative 6, c is 1. So I'm just going to plug it into my formula. If you don't remember your formula, remember opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So opposite of b, so I'm going to have 6 plus or minus negative 6 squared, all of this is underneath the radical, minus 4 times 2 times 1. All over 2a. So 6 plus or minus square root 36 minus 8 all over 2a, or 4. Now 6 plus or minus square root of 28 all over 4. I can simplify the square root of 28 as 6 plus or minus. I'm going to go ahead and work this out. So 4 times the square root of 7 all over 4. Square root of 4 is 2, so I have 6 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 7 all over 4. Now 6, 2, and 4 are all divisible by 2, so that's a 1, 2, and 3. Final answer, 3 plus or minus the square root of 7 divided by 2. Again, this is why some students will not like to use a quadratic formula, because it can get fairly long. It can get kind of long and drawn out. So if you're going to use it, make sure that that is the best case scenario for you. One to kind of go with it is the discriminant. Basically, whatever you have inside your radical, if it's positive, okay, if your discriminant is positive, then it's just the fancy way of writing it as greater than 0. So if it's positive, you're going to have 2 real solutions. If it ends up equaling 0, you're going to have 1 solution. And then if it's negative inside the radical, you're going to have no solutions.